Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode. This being really the final week where we're going to analyze Dragon Ball Super as the episodes have now ended. So on this one, we want to first take a look at the future of Dragon Ball. We're glad to have you here with us. This is Vin.
And this is Joe.
So we're looking at the future of Dragon Ball. We're going to address a lot of things in this video. Come back with us to see what we have to say about what we think is going to happen next. Of course, throughout this week, we're going to start to pick apart this final episode and look at some details more deeply. But we didn't want to do an overall of the entire episode. We wanted to sort of pick those things apart specifically. We wanted to start the week out by looking really towards the future. We thought that that was really the most important thing. Obviously, we all enjoyed the episode. It mostly was very good. But the future of Dragon Ball is really what everyone is worried about, wants to know, is on their mind. Of course, we know that the movie's coming out. We have the trailer for the December release of that, which was pretty cool. Hopefully you guys have seen that. If you haven't, we'll leave a link to the trailer below if you'd like to go ahead and take a look at it. But with that said, the TV series also, we want to see that continue as well in the animated form. And I think we got some pretty good hints here that not only is it going to continue, or it's at least on the minds of, Toriyama and the other writers, kind of what's going to happen with some of the characters that we've gotten used to. We've gotten some good insight into their future as well. So, of course, with this episode, we're going to go right to the end of the final episode, and everything is done. The tournament's over. The wish has been made. The victor is there, 17, obviously, Universe 7, and towards the very end, we start to now get the glimpses into what is happening, what is going down. First off, right off the bat, this is not the next day. These glimpses are, maybe some are the next day, but many of them are even weeks later, at least knowing that like 17's on his cruise ship. So these are clips shown much later after the tournament is done, which is important.
Yeah, and we can definitely tell that Boo is back. He's awake, and we were told that he's going to be asleep for, I think, months.
Yeah.
So that's happening, but it's not too far because we still see Vegeta and Bulma's kid is still young, so it's not like years or anything like that. So another thing that also indicates that it's been some time but also not a ton of time is Goku is fighting Vegeta, and he says that he can't go back into Ultra Instinct. He's sort of lost a technique. Now, if it was just the day after, it would be like, that's too soon to really know that you can't go back into it. So he's probably been trying for a while, and he feels like he maybe can't go in there or anything like that. So this is just giving us a little bit of indication of how much time has passed by a little bit before the very end of the episode.
Yeah, and the Ultra Instinct thing, we're going to be talking about that in another episode. We're going to give you some of our thoughts on really the different directions that this could be going. Do we take Goku at his word? Do we not? Is there more behind this? So we're going to have a future episode to look at that. So you want to be on the lookout for that future episode if you're interested in Ultra Instinct. But what do we know? So first off, very importantly, we get some good indication that there's obviously, they're going to be getting stronger. Goku and Vegeta are always going to be working to get stronger. He makes mention that Saiyans always get stronger. They always push the edge.
Yeah, they have no limits.
There is no limit for a Saiyan. And then there will be a new enemy. Until that next new enemy, that strong enemy who basically is, how do you overcome this, is there. They'll be ready for that when that pops up, which is an indication that that will pop up at some point, and that there will be a brief time until that happens. I think it even says something like that.
Brief time.
It says, there'll be a brief, almost a brief time period in between that. So now that could just be like, hey, they're just trying to end things, that's what they're saying. But I also think it's some insight into, they know this is very popular. Everyone wants to see this. There's going to be a brief break going on here, but that new enemy is going to pop up. They kept all of the universes in, which is important, obviously with the wish from 17. And that's now going to usher in, because you got to go beyond Universe 7 now. You can't stay in Universe 7. Universe 7, in large part, has been already explored, unless there's some crazy thing that we don't know about in Universe 7. I mean, it would be insane if there was another fighter in Universe 7 we never heard about or don't know, and hasn't even been mentioned now by Beerus or Whis. That would be crazy. So by by wishing back all the universes, which many people expected them to do, it opens up an immense amount of possibilities, which they could go any direction they want. Obviously, that enemy is going to pop up after a brief time period, and how brief, we don't know, but there's some speculation about sometime next year. We'll see what that's like, unless news comes out that changes that up. And then also we do get an introduction to Jiren now and Toppo and what that's looking like, because things have changed there now as well.
Yeah, Jiren has, I feel, gone to a different direction. He now sees what teamwork is like, what real power between friends can be like. So we were pretty much spot on with Jiren, like, being this arrogant guy who just cares about strength and just cares about himself and nobody else. We called that pretty early, but once again, I also thought that Goku, if anybody, was going to be the one to be able to change him. And I think it did change him quite a bit after fighting both Frieza and Goku and 17 at the same time. Also, I think Toppo is over there helping out with, look, you can have friends. I will be your friend and I will help you. And we'll get stronger together, that we will prove that we're stronger than Goku. I mean, pretty much they're going to, I feel, push each other, and we're going to see maybe a new Jiren the next time we meet up with him.
And that was really the thing that changed Jiren, was that he finally saw that teamwork can win. In the past, Jiren's been kind of, the thing that's been getting to him is that he's always sensed that strength alone, and that an individual's strength is the most important thing. And what he realized here is that, wait a second, he's being beaten not just by strength alone, but he's being beaten by teamwork. And that ended up being stronger and outdoing him. And that's really what's been getting Jiren down. So it brings us to Jiren's wish, actually. We were going to do an episode on this, but we'll just drop it right now as far as Jiren's wish is concerned. There really is, as far as we're concerned, only two possibilities on what Jiren's wish could have been, because it's really the two things that plagued him throughout. The first one being that he just would simply want to be stronger. Jiren made mention over and over and over again that strength is everything. Strength is justice. Nothing is important if you don't have strength. So maybe he would have made some simple sort of strength wish. He just wants to be stronger somehow. However he would have worded it, that's would have been his goal. And then the second thing that was plaguing him nonstop was his past. So that was the other thing. So maybe Jiren recognizes that I am basically doomed. My future's doomed because of my past. I can't get past this. I can't get beyond this. And maybe his wish would have something to do with bringing back his family and his friends so that he could somehow work to move beyond and past this thing. So those really are the only two things that I think Jiren would have wished for. It's the only things he really mentioned that were plaguing him throughout. Anything else I don't think would have been worked. However, if he did wish any of those things, I don't know if Zeno would have accepted them or not based off his rules. The friend thing, they're both kind of selfish in the sense that he wants both of them just for himself.
Yeah, I don't think he would have accepted it.
He may not have accepted any. Definitely not the strength wish. His family and friends, it's questionable, but it still seems like it might have been just for him. So I'm not even sure if it would have worked at all anyway. And Toppo was big in this too, because Toppo, even though Jiren treated Toppo like garbage, he still came out and basically said, listen, I believe in you. You're the strongest. I want to be friends. So we kind of get some closure with Universe 11 there, but also what's going to happen with Jiren in the future. And then Universe 6, we have Champa back and we have the whole Saiyan crew there.
We got Kale and Kefla, and the very first thing that they mention is, let's go Super Saiyan 3. It's like, oh, come on. That's the very first thing that you say when you come back alive.
I mean, it makes sense. It fits with what they've been doing the whole time. And I could only assume that she already figured out how to go Super Saiyan 3 by the time Vegeta and Goku are fighting in the end credits.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they probably figured it out that night.
Yeah, hopefully they don't get them into blue too quickly or anything like that. So anyway, what's the future with Vegeta and Goku and the rest of the crew? I mean, obviously, we're running into some barriers here with some of the fighting abilities of some of the crew. They're not just I don't think they're gonna be able to be involved in some of the upcoming fights. It was tough for them even to be involved in the Tournament of Power to a degree. But of course, it looks like Vegeta and Goku are going to be strengthening themselves immensely for some upcoming battles, which is going to be fun to see. And then we also have Frieza. Now, Frieza is back in. It's kind of weird having Frieza back in, and he's a part, and he's basically getting his crew back together, his minions, and all the other stuff. And it's strange because in my mind, I was talking to Joe. I'm like, he just doesn't seem as like a threat anymore.
Correct. He doesn't seem like he's going to be that big bad guy that we're looking forward to in the future. He just seems like he's going to be like that evil guy that we know, but he's going to be like an evil helping guy. Like, let's say something happens to the universe, he'll actually be there to fight it because he wants to be the one who rules the universe. He's going to be like the anti-hero, but he's not going to be friends with anybody.
And really, what evil could he do that could be as like dangerous as like destroying an entire universe?
Yeah, like what Xena was going through.
Nothing seemed like he's
but he wants the universe. He doesn't want to destroy the universe.
Of course,
he wants to rule it.
He's terrorizing a little civilization somewhere. That just doesn't seem that big anymore. You know. So maybe one of the things that he might do that would throw a wrench in it is try to go after the Dragon Balls at some point. Somewhere, wherever he decides to go, whether it's in Universe 7 or Universe 6, if he could figure that somehow becomes a thing. But as of right now, him just running things and ruling things how he wants, it just doesn't seem like a big deal. He's just going to kind of be doing his own thing. I think they'll probably give Frieza a break for a while and not have him involved. Yeah, that would be my thought, that he wouldn't be involved.
I mean, and they'll just bring him in whenever they need to, or just to add him back in. He's just always going to be at least a character back there that they can always use at some point.
Absolutely. And the supposition, too, is that Beerus and Whis would constantly be involved in future episodes as well. I mean, they're pretty much mainstay at this point. If Beerus and Whis go away, it would be very disappointing.
And Beerus's overall relationship with them has grown so much. He actually uses now their real names instead for just calling them him or her. So, I mean, I think Beerus now has a bigger attachment. Also with Frieza, too. He actually okayed him to get his life back from Whis, which it was pretty interesting that Whis can do that ability.
Yep, and now for the rest of the crew, I mean, you know, we have guys like Piccolo and Roshi and Krillin and 17, 18. I mean, I think most of them are going to just kind of go back to their normal deal. I don't know how useful they're going to be in some of the upcoming battles that will happen. I mean, if there's a person who is strong enough to be even stronger than Jiren, you know, there's just not that much use for them at this point.
The only people I feel like that have potential of becoming stronger would be Gohan or Piccolo.
And Gohan's really been struggling. Even Piccolo would be real rough. I don't know how he would do it.
There is ways around it. I mean, we now have, Universe 6. Maybe, like, you remember how we've been always hoping that he'll fuse more so that he gets stronger? Maybe he'll do something with Universe 6 in that way. I don't know, but I'm just trying to think of a way to make Piccolo stronger. And then Gohan, he still wants to try to get stronger. They sort of dropped the ball on him in this tournament. Hopefully they'll figure out something with him later.
It's kind of crazy now thinking about those Universe 6 Namekians, all the people that fused with them, and the fact of the matter is their universe was just wished back anyway. So it's almost like they all fused with these guys, lost their lives to do it, and when the universe was brought back, the two Namekians were brought back with all the fused individuals. Yeah. So if Piccolo would have fused with them, then those two guys wouldn't have been brought back, I don't think, technically.
No,
they would have stuck with Piccolo. Yeah. Which honestly would have been better. Piccolo would have been very relevant at that point.
It's like if Piccolo dies now, will Connie come back if he gets switched back?
It's sort of a shame that those people gave up their lives, ultimately actually for nothing.
I mean, technically the whole Tournament of Power, if you really think about it, was for nothing. Literally, the way it ended is the same way that it all started, except for Goku has gotten stronger.
I mean, the biggest thing is Vegeta and Goku got stronger,
Correct.
And the Universe 6 Saiyans got stronger. Other than that, I mean, not too much else really changed that much, except for Jiren. You know, obviously his mindset changed a lot.
So yeah, if we're going with what actually happened this Tournament of Power, very little technically.
The other big thing where it goes for the future is looking at Blue. God Form Blue and Ultra Instinct, but that's another episode. So we're going to talk about the future of Saiyans and their forms and Ultra Instinct and Vegeta and Goku on a different episode. So we didn't really want to touch on that with this episode.
Yeah, and actually just one last thing I want to mention is things that were not really answered a little bit here. Like, I still want to know more about Topo and what his God of Destruction thing. Like, is he now God of Destruction? What's happening with that side? I wanted to look more into Xeno and finding out what's his plans now that the Torment's power. Is he still going to be bored and he's looking for something else to do in the future?
And at this point, there's still 2 Xenos.
Yeah,
so
and there's still 2 Xenos, so that's going to be interesting.
he does. I mean, Xeno does want to also meet up with Goku again, so that's probably going to happen at some point. I also found it interesting too how they handled Frieza. Like, that was one of the things we brought up as well. Like, how are they going to get Frieza out of hell? What's going to happen with that? And they did it as fast as they possibly could.
Yeah.
Just have Whis do it right away. That's the direction they were like, oh, we got to handle this whole thing, so let's just have Whis get him free.
And I also mentioned, how are they going to do Goten and Trunks? A single picture is what they showed us for that. Also, like I was going to say, how are they going to explain everything to Bulma? They really didn't. They just showed them like talking with each other, and that was them explaining it. So
They explained it to each other. It's all done.
Correct. I mean, they went really quick with it, and then we also never got like conclusions, like talking between Gohan and Goku, I feel, or Piccolo, like going through like the fight and what happened and everything. We never really got that like deep into it because they had to go quick.
I mean, Gohan was really left out of these final episodes. I mean, when is the last time Gohan even said anything of importance in this whole arc? I mean, it's a very long time ago.
The only thing I remember is Jiren was using his hidden power. That's the last thing I remember him saying.
So I don't know. Maybe that's a thing. They're just not going in that direction anymore. I'm not really sure. But anyway, the future looks strong. I mean, they gave tons of hints for the future. They said that the Saiyans are always getting stronger. They're not ending. They're not quitting. This is not over. It's not like, hey, our stuff is behind us, and no, we're getting stronger. We're fighting. We're moving on. There's going to be a new enemy. When the new enemy arises, they will go meet that. It's going to be a brief break until that happens. All these things are all pointing to, everyone knows this will be starting up again, and there's so much to go, so much direction to move into, and so all of that is good. So we wanted to touch in on all those different characters and the end of it and just kind of look at that whole deal. So next episode dropping is going to be on Ultra Instinct, and then we're probably going to look a little bit deeper at some other things as well this week on the final episode. And then comes the chart videos, probably starting up next week if we can get it out there. So if you've been waiting for that, that is now happening, and we're pretty excited to get some of these things out there because now we have a really good insight on how powerful everyone is, especially in comparison to each other. So we hope you guys enjoyed this talk here. We want to see your thoughts below. Go ahead and leave a comment, like the video, also subscribe if you enjoy the content. As always, this is Vin.
And this is Joe.
We will, of course, check you guys out next time.